Welcome to Gwyn and Laser. We are back casting another game from the ESEA. Again, like I mentioned in our previous cast, we thought these were the finals games. Apparently, we were misinformed. They are not the finals games. But this is just going to be some good old ESEA clan wars between coLCatz and xSix. Of course, xSixMkengyn, the Zerg player in the bottom left-hand corner, and coLCatz's Cats up in the upper right-hand corner. Another ZVZ, we did see Mkengyn with the faster tech getting those Broodlords out, dominating last game. Is he going to take the series 2-0, or will Cats be able to tie it up and bring it back?
I'm actually kind of interested to see what Cats can do on this one. I thought the drops were... I don't know. Drops are always
really
kind of
good, man.
They're always like crazy from Zerg because you don't expect drops, right?
Mm-hmm.
But we've seen one person from coLCatz, which was Rise, do drops and they were like not effective. And then we saw Cats do drops and really they were effective. They really were because he did great economic damage, but he didn't like transition out of drops. So I mean, you can't do drops on Xel'Naga. I'm sorry. If you're Terran, sure, you can go medevac marine drop everyone's swamp. But I don't think Zerg can invest into drops and do it on this map. It's not worth it. But I want to see what he can do. I mean, is he just going to do the standard, like, hey, check it out, I got speedlings? Or is he going to do, check it out, I just made 100 spy crawlers and I'm inching them towards your base like siege tanks. You're like, I want to, let's see what goes on. But
yeah, I'm really curious to see what Cats is going to do. It looks like Cats going for a 15 pool, and we just get a 10 pool out of Mkengyn, so a very aggressive opening out of Mkengyn. Went 10 pool, Extractor tricked it to get an extra drone out, got that Overlord out finally, and is now making 6 Zerglings. If I look at the production tab, like a good caster, you see Zerglings on the way, streaming out of the base now. They're going to meet that scouting drone, and Cat's probably a little bit surprised to see this, but his pool should finish up in time. Of course, if you go for a 10 pool, a 15 pool will be up in time, and Cat's getting gas as well. Mkengyn as well, I guess, but Cat's gas finished up is going to be able to get speed up sooner if that is his tech choice.
Yeah, I don't know. Cats does have a lot of mineral right now, so he's probably trying to expand, but Mkengyn obviously will be able to deny that. So this is basically like a contain, 6 Zergling contain. He can do some damage. It will be for a little
bit of time here. He might be able to kill off a couple of those drones, but he needs to be careful not to get surrounded. Gonna pick off a couple Zerglings as well, perhaps.
Yeah, basically what he needs to do is sit near the bottom of the ramp and force Cats to invest A in a spine crawler, then B invest in more Zerglings, and while that's all going on, Mkengyn needs to expand. And that basically puts Cats behind on the drone count, puts him behind in the economic count, and it's not really doing any of that, so Mkengyn's making me look like a retard, which is pretty cool.
Cats, though, getting speed has not pulled guys off gas, so he's going to be continuing to get gas, and it looks like Mkengyn got a second queen out, and this is one of the great things with a fast pool opening. You can get your second queen out so quickly, start spreading that creep, and look at this. Gonna poach out here and chase off the Overlord. He's like, you know what, Overlord? You're not allowed to stand here. You're over my expansion area. Queen, they're shooting some spines. A couple Zerglings going to come down here by Cats, try and take that out. But one queen should beat 2 Zerglings, so they should be fine there. And the other thing, which is a little bit of a interesting choice in this matchup, is you are able to get a creep tumor down faster. On this map, I think I like that choice because of how wide open the natural is. But we'll have to see.
I do like that he now food capped Cats basically. One Overlord, especially in ZUZ early, makes a big difference.
Huge,
yeah, it makes a really big difference. Now natural's going down for Mkengyn, and like you said, he's already got the second queen, so he's going to be able to larva inject in there ASAP. He's going to be able to spread creep ASAP.
Look at this out of Cats,
went
though.
For the lair again.
He's going one base lair. And this actually reminds me of a build that I saw Chef doing quite a bit about a month ago, where he was going Zergling Infester, and he'd go one base lair and then expand. So I would not be surprised to see an expansion going down. And there's the infestation pits. This has got to be what he's doing. Getting a burrow, getting a second queen immediately. I think Chef's build might have even skipped the first queen to get the lair up faster, but I don't recall. And relying on a lot of spine crawlers, and then of course when those infestors pop, I think the best way to look at it is, in the mid game or in the early game, there can be a lot of roach ling back and forth in ZVZ, but you never really have I wouldn't say well, I guess I'd say a unit. You would never really have a unit that is powerful enough to drastically swing the battle in your favor until the Infestor comes out. And by getting these Infestors out really quickly, which is what he's doing, all of a sudden you have that unit that you can be very powerful with. But
do you have enough gas, like, on one base to really, like, I don't. How effective can this be? Like, honestly, is what I'm looking at it as. Like, I realize he was in a situation where it almost seemed like it was something he had to do, and I'm not saying it's a bad choice, but look how much gas CATZ has. He has 300 gas right now.
I mean 300 gas is, he's going to have probably about 450 when he starts making Infestors. 2 Infestors already on the way, and he still has 400 gas. So he's going to be able to produce, a fair amount of Infestors. I'm sorry, that is McKenzie with the 400 gas.
Yeah, he only has 100 gas. That's what I'm saying.
So another Infestor in production, though. So three Infestors, 3 Fungals is pretty significant when you're dealing with small Zergling and Roach forces, which is what you have at 8 minutes into the game. And it looks like this little attack with Lings by CATZ going to pick off one of McKenzyn's queens, and then going to pull back. But he did some pretty good damage with that.
Yeah, he did. I don't know. I don't really play Zerg. It's probably my least played on the ladder myself, and ZVZ isn't exactly something that I go around looking for to watch. But I mean, I pay enough attention to it to know a lot of the normal stuff. But I mean, just looking at this, I just feel like it's so. I don't know. It's just so weird. Like, it's just such a weird thing to look at. And after watching him basically lose the game before because of all the attention he put only into the Infestor, to see him do it again but from another perspective just makes me feel uneasy about the whole situation.
CATZ forced to do a cancel on that hatch. Finally was going to expand. He's got his queens and his lings. Probably going to have to cancel that spine crawler as well. Does he get the cancel off? No, it looks like it was killed. But Infestor finally coming out, and the Infestor, of course, is going to be able to allow him to lock down those lings. But we do see some Infestors burrowing straight into the natural. And this is the other thing that's great about this build out of CATZ is not only did he get Infestors out quickly, but he had Burrow out when they finished.
Ooh, but the Overseer popped. Check it out.
Overseer has popped, but those Infestors at the back of the natural, not going to be spotted by that. Probably going to wait for another round of drones to be made and then kill basically all the drones.
Okay, I kind of like it. I mean, this is new. This is different than the drops, but man, it's just I don't know, man.
I think this is very reminiscent of that timing that Sheth had, but he actually made an attack off of it. Like, he pushed with lots of lings and his Infestors. And I don't believe he had Burrow, which meant he probably had an extra Infestor. That the CATZ does not have. But like, these 2 Infestors sitting at the back of the mineral line here are just going to sit here, build up energy, wait for that base to get saturated, and then they're going to be able to do a lot of damage. A little bit of a surround on one of the Infestors from McKenzyn. Great picking that off without getting any fungals out. But I mean, if we look at, let's look at the unit count for a moment. CATZ is actually ahead in workers. Believe it or not, he did just kill off a bunch of workers with those Infestors of the natural, but I mean, that's the kind of damage that you need to do. He's ahead in workers by a lot, 31 to 20 at this point. And he doesn't have that expansion up yet, but he's got basically the same tech up, that McKenzyn does, and McKenzyn now has to remake a lot of drones. So I really like this play out of CATZ. I think it's very creative, it's very different, we'll have to see. I mean, CATZ's macro slipped last game, and that's basically what lost it for him. And, looking at the food count, we still see McKenzyn in the food count, so it's possible that it's not going to work out for him. He's going to bounce right back. Spore Crawler going down at the back of the mineral line, of course, to guard against those Infestors.
What happened to the Infestor in the main?
I believe it got taken down by the Overseer.
I lost track of it, but I mean, I don't know. I just feel like CATZ is putting himself in another situation where, if this doesn't work, he's just in a bad spot again. I mean, if you look at McKenzyn, like you said, they have the same tech, but McKenzyn has, like, at least some roaches. He's got an Overseer now to find out where the burrowed units are. And again, you look at CATZ, and CATZ has Infestors. That's it. He just has Infestors.
Does have infestors and zerglings, continuing to produce infestors. This might be, I mean, the same overcommitment to a tech unit, which doesn't really have any DPS power outside of fungals, and fungals, of course, require good control. But it looks like Cat's going to be sneaking back in with these infestors if he can. Maybe he'll just sit them behind the third and wait till that gets taken. But we'll see. I mean, we have a Ling moving out from Cat's. I'm going to go ahead and scout the front. Probably try and poke in and see if there is an Overseer there, so he knows about that. But I'm interested to see, what Mkengyn does out of this. Already we see the supply lead starting from Mkengyn, breaking down those rocks, going to take his gold, and Mkengyn taking a leaf out of Katz's book, moving these 2 burrowed infestors around to the back of Katz's mineral line. Catz with the Spore Crawler conveniently placed, but will he be able to move his drones in time?
Cat's got a couple more drones in the natural there with those infestors. They weren't even burrowed. He just kind of ran in as quick as he could and got some fungals off. I think he got about 6. Not too bad, but here comes that Overseer. Might actually get him this time.
I mean, looking at the workers killed Cat, I mean, Catz has taken out 27 drones at this point, which is pretty significant in a Z-v-Z. But, I mean, Mkengyn able to keep the supply counts pretty even, 115 to 114 right now. And he's got those infestors in position, just needs to run them in. He'd be able to kill so many drones. I'm talking about Mkengyn, of course. It looks like Mkengyn didn't take out those infestors, and ooh, are we going to see a push out of Catz? He has, what is that, 9 infestors he's moving out with? That is pretty scary.
Yeah, that is a lot of units. Again, a lot of infestors, a decent amount of roaches. It's actually a pretty good number of roaches. I'm going to have to see. It's basically going to come down to who can fungal better here. Ooh, good fungal hunt to Catz. And Katz's infestors are so far behind. Oh, catching up though.
That's a lot of infested Terrans going down though for Catz. These infested Terrans probably going to do, well, I mean, if they get killed before they pop, then not too much. But I think Catz may be relying a little bit too much on the infested Terran. Didn't have enough roaches in that mix. And this is kind of the same thing we saw last time, where we had a trade here where I guess Catz is coming out more on top of this trade than he did in previous trades because he had the right mix of roaches, but reinforcements for Mkengyn going to be able to clean this up. Did Mkengyn lose his infestors? I think he did. So we did not see a repeat of last game where Catz lost all his infestors in that push. Catz down in the roach count. If we go to the unit counting station, they're about equal in drones. Mkengyn has a few more, and Mkengyn still has these, actually, wow, taking out a lot of Katz's drones. With those infested Terran from those infestors. So, and he actually took out the hatch as well. That is, I completely missed that during the attack, but that is a ton of damage done by Mkengyn. So I would put him squarely in the lead off 2 bases to the 1 of Catz, and taking his gold.
Again, just Catz had so much like invested into the infestors. Just didn't have. I mean, he won the battle, but after that, it was like the last game he did the same thing. He was so invested into the infestor unit that he won the one battle, but he couldn't produce or come back from it again. And he did the same thing here, and he won, but the only thing he had left over were a couple infestors, and you can't really do much. You can't end a game with 8 infestors. You know what I mean? When there's 2 bases left.
Certainly can't. You need other units as well, but it looks like Cat going for a huge counterattack with 8 infestors here. Probably going to be moving those in to the natural. Third looks like it's coming up, and some roach aggression at the front. This is the kind of positional play that you want, but let's see if you can make something happen. A lot of infested Terran getting spit out. Says, you know what, you took out my hatch, I'm just going to go for your hatch as well, but we'll see if Mkengyn is going to be able to clean this up in time. Looks like with those fungals going down, he won't have a hard time of it, and Catz just expended a lot of infestor energy to really not do anything.
Yeah, now those infestors are basically useless for now, for the time being, but attack over at the 3rd, repelled.
Repelled from the gold. He had enough roaches there. Gold has taken some damage, but Mkengyn staying pretty light on the infestors himself, only has 3 on the map or 5 on the map right now. 2 still sitting back there, building up energy and ready to take out that natural from Catz. And Catz moving a lot of spine crawlers down. I really liked his spine crawler play in the previous game, but Mkengyn just has so many roaches.
Yeah, and Katz's roach is swinging around the backside, going to get scouted by that Overlord over there, and either Mkengyn didn't see it or he's ignoring it and going for some type of just all-in win here for like a base trade type of play. I'm not really sure. He's
He
going to lose
has
his natural.
lost his natural. Will he lose his third as well? I'm not sure. Looks like he's swinging around after taking out the gold for Catz. Going to save his third base here. Catz targeting down the queen. No, targeting down the base as well. I think he's going to lose it. That is a lot of roaches from Catz. No, getting cleaned up. Unable to take it down. And, that was, not a good trade. That, of course, non-gold, patch, not quite as good as the gold. And that gold is barely up. And a huge counter push from Mkengyn. A lot of infestors, though, from Catz. But, like we've mentioned a couple times now, infestors other than fungal don't really do any damage.
Yeah, don't take it the wrong way. I mean, the fungal itself does great damage. I mean, it is a high damage move, but you have to have something else to back it up, because once you're out of energy, or if the units aren't all clumped up or they're on different fronts, I mean, wasting a fungal to hit 5 roaches is one thing, but I mean, if he were to get the whole army, awesome, but he's not doing that right now, it's not enough. I mean, look at this, he's basically going to clean out this base now because those 6 or 7 infestors over there are out of energy. They can't do anything. I think Katz's downfall was basically his overinvestment into infestors, and it's not like he had bad play or anything. It's not like he played it wrong or he mismicroed or anything was bad. It was still good play. It was just bad unit choice or just too many of them. He just had too many.
And Catz finally able to take down that gold hatch. She snuck some infestor there and dropped a few infested Terrans, but Catz doesn't have a base anymore. And the GG well played out of Catz. Definitely well played from Mkengyn, and I completely agree with you. The overcommitment to infestor tech, getting too many infestors out while he did great economic damage. I think you need to do the economic damage, pull back, and then go back to a normal style of just expanding, making a lot of roaches, and just having good infestor control with the 5 or 6 infestors you do have. Instead, we saw, probably 16 or 17 infestors come out from Catz over the course of that game, and just didn't have the gas for roaches.
Just nothing to help do damage. He had great economic damage, but no damage to the army, no damage to the structures, no damage outside of the economic damage. And it wasn't enough, obviously, because Mkengyn was able to keep up.
Certainly wasn't. And with that, xSix will take that match, against Complexity. So we're going to go on to the 4th and final match of this clan war coming right up.